Hello there, I'm Jo Price and welcome to Property Pundits here on Property TV. Joining me today is James McGregor. Welcome, James.
Thank you.
You're a commercial mortgage broker, I believe,
Yes,
and
correct.
also work for Messer Financial Consultants. Today we're talking about the difference between residential and commercial mortgages. What are those differences?
So the main difference is commercial mortgage is really for companies. If you're a trading business and you want to buy the office you're actually trading out of, or it could be if you want to rent out a commercial property.
So if I'm buying to let or trading myself, is there a difference with the type of mortgage I could get? So if I was buying, say, a retail space and planning to rent it out to...
Yes. Essentially, it's done differently on the affordability calculation. If you're buying to let it out, the odds are they'll probably lend you a bit less money than you may get if you're going to trade out of the office. And they purely look at what the rental return is in the area.
There's been quite a few regulatory changes with buy-to-let mortgages for residential properties.
Correct.
For those landlords. Have those changes affected commercial property as well?
How it's affected the commercial market is essentially any property, if you have more than 4 buy-to-let properties, it is now deemed as commercial lending. So what you'll probably find is the normal buy-to-let mortgages that would necessarily need a buy-to-let lender will now come into the commercial space. So I think what you'll find is more lenders opening up to be more competitive in that market. Now,
I live in an area where there's a lot of residential property above commercial property, and I know quite a lot of the retailers on my high street, I should say. I know there are some issues with, for example, if I was to buy a whole building but it had a residential property above and a commercial retail unit below,
yes,
and I was to live in the one above and rent the one down below, how would that affect the mortgage?
Ideally, what you'd probably have to do is split the titles, because it'd be seen as a regulated mortgage. Because you're living in a majority of the building, they would have to assess it under regulation, whereas normally commercial is unregulated lending.
Okay, is there more flexibility in the different types of property with different types of lenders?
Yes.
Different types of mortgages? Is there more flexibility commercially than there is residentially?
There is, exactly. On the residential side, you would literally have a house and then that's it, or a flat. On the commercial side, as long as there's a building and that it's commercially viable, the odds are they'll be able to do borrowing on it. For example, this year we've done a redevelopment for a client where we lent them the money in a shop, as you mentioned. Upstairs was nothing. They got the planning. We lent them the money to switch the property, and that was all commercial.
Okay, great. Best idea to speak to a broker, I believe.
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
It's a bit of a minefield.
All right, James. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.